West Denver. Sleep deprived and heavily caffeinated.
All right, let's do this then.
This is the Jeff and Bill Show.
I don't agree with that.
They don't always agree, but hey, at least they have coffee.
Coffee.
And each other.
Coffee, man.
God help us.
I want to bless him. We need all the help we can get.
Now here's Jeff Hunt and Bill Thorpe. The Jeff and Bill Show on News Talk 710 KNUS.
Nine a.m. in the Mile High City on this Friday, August 8th, 2025. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. You've tuned into the Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710 KNUS. Coming up here, we're going to continue our conversation with Chaim Goldberg, Intermountain Jewish News from Israel, live in studio, getting the updates on what's happening there. We're going to talk anti-Semitism in America, all that. But first, news and comment with Blake Olson.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
TGIF, good morning. 82 and partly cloudy, expecting a high of 96 today. This portion of the news sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story, both Russian President Putin and Ukrainian President Zelensky want to meet with DJT. Today marks 47's original deadline for Russia to reach a ceasefire deal with Ukraine. Will this end the war? Hopefully. Today, we shall see. The president is also set to announce a peace pact between Azerbaijan and Armenia. A full military takeover of Gaza City has been approved by the Israeli Security Cabinet. Netanyahu's office had earlier said his intention was to take over all of the Gaza Strip, something apparently not covered by this approval. A statement from the Prime Minister says the goal of the takeover is to achieve a decisive victory over Hamas and the return of all hostages. Another reason someone has to be held accountable for the Russia hoax, lefties like Jamie Raskin continue this morning to regurgitate one of the biggest lies, and a few of them.
They're trying to completely rewrite the history of January 6th, rewrite the history of the 2020 election, rewrite the history of the Civil War. You know, there are very fine people on both sides. When there's an anti-Semitic riot in Charlottesville, it is the progressives who are standing up for history, who are standing up for facts, who are standing up for the truth.
That's funny. That is funny.
I don't feel no ways tired. I come too far from where I started from. Nobody.
Lock 'em up. Lock 'em up. It never ends. Federal law enforcement officers are being ordered to patrol D.C. by the president. The effort will start as a week-long operation, but can be extended as needed. The former Doge intern, nicknamed Big Balls, was attacked and beat up earlier this week in D.C. and sparked 47 to take action. The Colorado State Patrol has announced the arrest of an allegedly an impaired driver who's been charged with endangering a child. Troopers responded to the area of I-70 West near milepost 328 in Arapahoe County in late July. A caller said a child was screaming for help inside a green Volvo station wagon and no license plates and a detached pump nozzle hanging from the gas tank. Troopers attempted to contact the unidentified driver in a parking lot, but the suspect drove away. The vehicle was eventually stopped, and the child was unhurt. The driver faces multiple charges, including DUI, felony eluding, and child abuse. Two fast-growing wildfires on Colorado's western slope near Meeker have now burned more than 73,000 acres with zero containment. A wildfire north of L.A. has forced thousands to evacuate and has burned almost 5,000 acres. It's near Santa Clarita in Ventura County and is still raging uncontained. Gina Carano's lawsuit against Disney and Lucasfilm has been settled. The actress sued in February of 24, alleging that she had been let go from The Mandalorian in 2021 for voicing conservative views on social media, which is true. They let her go. She was seeking reinstatement to the show or at least $75,000 in damages. I think I could have done better as her attorney, and I'm not an attorney. But that, wow, we should.
Isn't it amazing that Elon Musk just came in and paid for her attorney, never actually met her?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Dude. I heard that. No, that's awesome.
Telling you, man, his purchase of X will go down in history as one of the biggest changes.
Absolutely. God, just pray that it stays wide open, man. No, you are exactly hitting it on the head there, because that was instrumental, vital in the election. I agree with you. Broncos and Niners tomorrow night, preseason game number 1. And it is, let's see, we got the Rockies. I think they got a 6-game road trip. And they start tonight in Phoenix. It's going to be hot, hot, hot again. But there's air conditioning there and a roof, so what am I talking about? 79 in Castle Rock, 80 in Arvada, 82 in Denver. Jeff and Billy, get ready for the weekend. One more hour. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Your KNUS forecast for the Denver metro area calls for a very warm summer morning this Friday. Temperatures upper 60s and low 70s. And we're going to be looking at, again, a hot summer day. Some increasing afternoon clouds, though, will help a little bit. High temps, though, approaching 100 degrees. Nighttime lows mid-60s. Mid to upper 80s Saturday, near 80 Sunday.
Weather is a service of L&L Heating and Air Conditioning. For quick, trustworthy, and dependable service, call L&L Heating and Air Conditioning at 720-851-1690. Visit them online at bestdenverhvac.com. That's bestdenverhvac.com. You'll be comfortable with L&L. I'm meteorologist Mark Huer in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
All right, live in studio with us is Chaim Goldberg, Intermountain Jewish News. He lives in Israel. He's visiting us, and we're getting the latest. Bill's got a great question for Chaim. Go ahead, Billy.
Yeah, if a train was leaving Chicago going out, no, I'm kidding. We're not going to do word problems today. No, Chaim Goldberg, what I want to ask about is the individual experience inside of Israel. I see a lot of media coverage, and because we know the bromide of if it bleeds, it leads, and because most of the fighting is happening inside of Gaza, that's where we're seeing a lot of the media coverage. But even from where I sit, I believe it is unbalanced, that we're not hearing enough about what is going on inside of Israel. I want to ask you, what are some stories or some experiences that are happening inside of Israel that we're not hearing about? Because I think many Americans forget the idea that missiles have been launched repeatedly into these communities. The Iron Dome has failed a few times. There have been some impacts of this conflict that still continue to resonate today, not to mention families that are still trying to put back the pieces of lives that were destroyed. What were some of the stories and experiences that you've seen firsthand in Israel that we as Americans are not being exposed to?
So, yeah, there's tremendous suffering in Israel. There's, besides the thousands killed, there are tens of thousands injured, and injured can mean, loss of limb. I have friends that have lost their legs. I have neighbors whose nephew lost 2 legs and an arm and the other hand, and this just shows up, as an injury. But that's the kind of injuries sometimes that we're talking about. And then there's scores more with PTSD, which I also work as a psychologist. There's so many people that have just lost the capacity to function. People, again, that I know who have lost their jobs, who are, gone to all kinds of unhealthy drug dependencies. And these are people that were great people, very, constructive. Their lives were productive, and but there's a lot of suffering. There's a lot of divorce and family issues. Reservists. Israel doesn't operate with the professional army. Oh, here's our people to go fight. It's the civilians, who ultimately have got to be called up in a situation like this, and they're away from their families for years now, and that caused a lot of issues. There's a spike in suicides among the military service members. There's a lot of suffering, and again, I mourn for the suffering of all innocents. Any innocents in Gaza that do not wish violence. But I think it is important, and this is not the way that the media typically goes about it, but to actually focus more sympathy on Israeli suffering, going back to the moral side and who started this war. Those Israelis that are suffering didn't want this war, didn't ask for it, and would be happy for it to end tomorrow if there would just be the hostages back and living in peace. And, in that sense, I think that suffering does deserve a lot of attention.
That's Chaim Goldberg, Intermountain Jewish News, live in studio with us. Chaim, let's talk anti-Semitism in America. Goodness, never would have thought I would have seen in my lifetime what we're seeing right now, particularly on college campuses. But I guess it's not surprising. I think my theory is what's happened is you've had a co-opting of sympathy towards radical Islamism and Marxism, right? So Marxism, first page, Communist Manifesto, all of history is oppressor versus oppressed. That's force-fed to college students, not just starting in universities, but all the way through government-run education. That's the way they look at the world. There's oppressors, there's oppressed. Well, if there's success, it's not because of hard work, it's not because of commitment, sacrifice, it's because you're an oppressor. That's why you have money, that's why you have power, you're successful, is because you're an oppressor. So they look at what's happening in the Middle East and they go, well, Israel's this great country. It's got all this business, it's thriving. They must be oppressing people in order to get to where they are. And they put that in the framework, and then when you put people into that framework, it greenlights any type of moral attacks you want to do, right? Because you're fighting an oppressor. And college students have just bought this hook, line, and sinker with regards to Israel. Israel is an oppressive country. The Jewish people are oppressive people. And then sometimes you even see that bleed into the hard right, where the right goes, well, there's this cabal of Jews that are somehow controlling the world and oppressing the world. It's just Marxist thought. They bought into Marxist thought. And it has lit this fire of anti-Semitism that's taking place on college campuses. What are you hearing from the Jewish community here in Denver, particularly in light of anti-Semitism? It wasn't, 3 months ago, maybe 2 months ago, that Jews were lit on fire in Boulder, in Colorado.
Right here.
What is happening? How's the Jewish community responding to all this?
I mean, it's definitely tough. I mean, and the amount of money that needs to be spent just on security, so that Jews can attend, their services in synagogue, without worrying for their life is absurd. It's absolutely insane. And there is that increase, and it's deeply concerning, and today I think Jews can feel still pretty safe in America, but then you think, 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road, and, it gets more concerning.
We had Jews that were shot outside of the Washington, D.C. Embassy there. You've had Jews lit on fire here in Colorado. You've had synagogues attacked. I mean, and this is a point of discussion on this show. In all those cases, they're yelling "Free Palestine." I mean, in my belief is that "Free Palestine," that phrase right now is a call to violence against Jews.
Oh,
What's
absolutely. Absolutely it is, and that's why the candidate in New York, Mamdani's, refusal to condemn globalize the Intifada, it's horrific, because that is what that means. Globalize, take violence and spread it around the globe against Jews. It's fascinating because, you see this this, like you're saying, is parallel between Israel and America in this sense, and they're connecting. They say it's not anti-Semitism; it's just anti-Zionism. But if it's just anti-Zionism, why are you lighting people on Boulder on fire? What are the people in Boulder doing, by the way? They are just asking for hostages to be released. That's it. They probably actually are pretty much against the war for the most part. That's the people that were being lit on fire. So it's just hatred of Jews. And it's interesting because you think about ultimately what Jews, have come to this country and what they've done in Israel. It's to build. It's to build, to be constructive, to build societies, productive societies. Just to give one example, I think it's a very sharp distinction in the war with Iran. So Iran destroyed one of Israel's main science institutions. Not didn't fully destroy it, but they destroyed a lot of it. And what did they destroy? They destroyed cancer research. And Israel destroyed Iran's science, laboratories. And what did they destroy? Nuclear weapon research. So Israel's science is there to build, to help the world, to help humanity. Anyone on listening to this show, and in fact, anyone who's yelling "Free Palestine" is actually very happy to use technology that Israel has invented for the good of all humanity around the globe. Everyone, I don't have the list in front of me, but there are so many things that everyone uses on a daily basis that is from Israel for the purpose of building a better world.
Well, there's a great book I encourage people to read called Startup Nation, which is all about what Israel's been able to build with all of its lack of natural resources, which is amazing. Chaim, I want to ask a personal question. I can't imagine. I grew up white Protestant in America, right? You've grown up Jewish in America. You live in Israel now. What is it like to grow up with a history of genocide, Holocaust, efforts to remove your own people from the face of the earth, and then to build these flourishing communities, these societies that are contributing so much? But what is it like to grow up with that history of your people that maybe guys like me, white Protestants, don't understand?
It's a great question. It certainly is deeply embedded. I mean, it's certainly was a strong part of my childhood, knowing who are the Holocaust survivors in my synagogue. I'm here visiting Denver with my 8-year-old son, and we're going to be going, please God, on Sunday to visit a 99-year-old Holocaust survivor, Zachary Kuttner. And it's there's incredible resilience. It's something that's age old. I mean, there's been, attacks and all kinds of violence against Jews, and what the causes are, I'm not going to, we could speak about that, but ultimately it's there. And I think there's just this determination, really, again, it's to build, and, there wasn't determination to get vengeance, against Germany. It was just for Germany to reform and become a better place. Also now the determination is just to build to a redeemed world and not to have vengeance against Gaza. There's very much resilience, no matter what, we will get up. Proverbs says, the righteous man falls 7 times and he gets up. And I think the Jewish people, however much is done to them, they will get up and they will continue to build.
I think it's spiritual. Do you think it's spiritual? I
absolutely.
I read the Old Testament. The Jewish people, chosen people of God from the times of Abraham, and since that moment, there has been an effort by this world, I think it's demonic, to try to harm God's chosen people. Now, I think as a Christian, we're grafted into that unique relationship, and you and I probably have theological differences on that, but I do want to affirm, and I think Christians should affirm, that God's love for the Israeli people, detailed throughout the Old Testament, is a true reflection of the world. It's not just a story. It's not just, something that we read and go, oh, okay, well, that's nice, ancient people. No, I think God really loves the Jewish people. He has built a covenant with you. And a lot of the attacks that you all have to face, that began back at the time of Moses are rooted in a demonic effort to try to break that bond between God and his chosen people. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, absolutely, there's a spiritual component. I mean, I think it goes both ways, both in terms of God's promise to the Jewish people, and that's divine, and in terms of having that capacity to pick up after something like the Holocaust. It comes from, a spiritual resilience. There's a Viktor Frankl, is a famous psychiatrist. He wrote a book, Man's Search for Meaning. And that, the deepest drive, a person can have is a search for meaning. Definitely recommend reading it. But it's absolutely, you look at Israel's history, the military history, it's miraculous. It's completely miraculous. What happened just now in Iran is completely miraculous. The success that they had was against all predictions. So I absolutely believe that there is a divine hand in this.
Yeah. So what do you think is going to happen? At this point, Israel has tremendous power in the Middle East in ways that I don't think it's seen in centuries. When you look at Iran, seems to be on their back foot. Hamas, Hezbollah, Syria, all those entities have tried to challenge Israel and end up losing. Where does this go from here? From your perspective as an Israeli, what does the Middle East look like in 5 years?
That's also a great question. One of the biggest ironies with this whole starvation reportage is that it's coming so soon after this incredible success with Iran. And, the question is how to take all these military successes and turn it into, political achievement and long-lasting, achievements. And I think ultimately the direction we are headed in a positive direction. There was the Abraham Accords in 2020. I think it's hard to see exactly what the road is going to be to get there, but I do think by the end of Trump's current term, there will be additional agreements of peace between Israel and its Arab neighbors. And I think we are definitely moving in an overall uphill direction. I think that, Hamas and its ilk and, the people that buy their, propaganda, which unfortunately now includes England and France and Canada, are pulling out all the stops. If you think about the starvation, there's something that just doesn't make sense about it. There was been aid going in, millions of meals a day since the beginning of May. And most interestingly, just pretty soon right after the whole Iran, success wrapped up, all of a sudden we're starting hearing about all this starvation. And I think it's because they really knew they were on their back foot. I for sure the Gazans are hungry, and there are probably some that are very hungry. But I don't think it's so different, a week after the Iran war as it was May 3rd. I'm sure, in fact, there was actually a lot more food there. But they knew this was something they could do to get the condemnation. So it's a long road. All I'm just trying to say is it's a long road. It's hard to predict exactly how it's going to go. But I think we are heading in a positive direction. I think there will be some more peace agreements. Certainly, that's what we pray for.
I think that's important to remember in the midst of all of this, what Chaim Goldberg just said right there, Intermountain Jewish News, they're praying for peace for all people. I think that gives you insight into what Jews really want in all of this. And I implore our listeners on this, because I served persecuted Christians at the United Nations, went there, did work on their behalf. This was 2010. Okay, so 15 years ago. I'm at the UNHCR in Geneva, UN Human Rights Council, 15 years ago. Okay? Day after day, for 8 hours a day, Muslim country after Muslim country would join with countries like Russia and North Korea and spend hours berating Israel, talking about human rights abuses, talking about all the terrible things that are happening. It was anti-Semitism. It was endless. It went on forever. This was the UNHCR, Human Rights Council, spending their time berating Israel and giving space to North Korea, by the way, North Korea, to say that Israel was engaging in human rights abuse. This thing hasn't changed at all. And so when I see England and Canada and the rest of them go, human rights abuse. They've been doing this forever, ignoring what's really happening on the ground there and driving an anti-Semitic agenda. Nothing new under the sun.
Absolutely. It's sad to see. And, I think for U.S. citizens, going back to the anti-Semitism, I think one of the greatest responsibilities we have is just to continue to remain educated on what's going on, what is, the facts on the ground. The editorial in this week's Intermountain Jewish News reads not, what's happening in Gaza or what should be happening in Gaza, but just what is happening in Gaza. What is, the IDF doing there? And I would encourage listeners to go to IJN.com. It's really one of the primary sources and sometimes the only source on a lot of what's going on in Colorado's community and on what's going on in Israel.
Just a reminder, it wasn't but 3 months ago that Jews here in Colorado were being lit on fire. Support them. They're facing anti-Semitism, record anti-Semitism here in the United States, in Colorado. They're facing these international challenges, and you can get all the latest at IJN.com, IntermountainJewishNews.com, IJN.com. Let's stand with our Jewish brothers and sisters during this time. Chaim Goldberg, thank you so much. Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you for being on the Jeff and Bill Show.
I got to come back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
we'll continue that. Give my best to your father, to your sister. They're doing great work over there. We'll continue. We got some Cowboy Poetry coming up. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Wake up, Denver. There's no better place to start your morning than IHOP, where the pancakes are fluffy, the coffee is hot, and the smiles are endless. Wednesday, August 27th, join Jeff and Bill as they broadcast their show live from IHOP at 1595 South Colorado Boulevard in Denver. You're officially invited to be part of the excitement. Come grab your favorite breakfast and watch the Jeff and Bill Show in action from 6 to 10 a.m. Don't forget to try the special Jeff and Bill breakfast. Pancakes, any style eggs, and crispy bacon, all for just $7.10. It's a deal as good as their hot takes. All they need is you. Bring your appetite, bring your friends, and kick off your day with great food and great conversation. See you Wednesday, August 27th at IHOP.
Perfect intro music for our next guest, Jeff Hildebrandt. Pack it up, pack it in, let me begin.
Yeehaw.
I came to win. Battle me. That's
Yippee-ki-yay.
What band is this?
You.
Oh, you checked the screen. You checked the screen.
I had the luck. Dude, this is why I fail bar trivia when it gets to music time, because I'm like, Johnny Cash? I don't know.
The other day, there was a song that ran across a video that my mom was looking at the phone. I'm like, oh. And I told her the song immediately, and she's like, from 2 notes? Like, yes, from 2 notes. Yes. Yeah, this is House of Pain. And people remembered this because, this is, the sports jock people. But, Everlast.
Background.
Do you remember?
House of Pain.
Yeah, House of Pain.
How appropriate.
When you ask Bill a question about music, you just go down a rabbit hole.
It's Everlast and DJ Lethal. And
what the guy was drinking when he built the song.
But no, people will know the songs that Everlast became popular. Like the song What It's Like. And that's a much more acoustic presentation. But it's the same dude that is the MC that is in fronting House of Pain. So go back and look for the man Everlast, look for his music, and realize that's the same dude that is the lead MC on House of Pain. And Everlast has some really good chops, too. He worked with some really, really good other rap groups in the 80s, but again, I won't take us down that line.
Him started,
I know.
Again. That little NBC stars going across. The more you know.
Oh, yeah.
All right. For what we're all really here for.
And now continuing the House of Pain.
Jeff Hildebrandt, Cowboy Poet, Laureate, joining us in studio.
Okay. This just, I hesitate to bring this up, but it's a service. This is a service poem for all of, not all of your listeners, but some.
I feel like he's just talking about me, just personally. I'm just saying. See what happens here.
My wife has found a website where she buys some small blue pills made up by female pharmacists designed to cure man's ills. She drops one in my oatmeal, then waits about an hour for blood to run up to my brain, increasing staying power. Each Saturday I get a pill. For 4 hours, there's no stopping. The pill is called Viagra. It's so I will take her shopping. The pills come with a warning. If the urge to shop lasts longer than 4 hours, you need to stop for a latte.
Viagra.
Viagra.
That's wonderful. See, that I always do this when I'm going shopping with my wife, that you can scan around and you can tell the husbands that are the OGs, the guys that know how this thing has worked, based on how they hold the purse. You can easily, you know the guys that have been shopping have done this with the wives all the time based on how they hold the purse. If they're holding it like it's a diaper bag full of dirty diapers, that's a newbie. You got to talk to him and break him in a little bit. You got to bring him over and talk about how this thing works.
Here's the thing, though, guys, gentlemen. My generation we don't shop with our wives at all. What our expertise becomes is breaking down the Amazon boxes that just show up on a daily basis.
True. Yeah.
Wandering around a mall? No, but cleaning up the boxes? Yes.
See, that's the problem, is at least there was, when we went shopping with the wives in the mall, at least we had a little tiny bit of control.
Right.
Some sort of input. The Amazon, there's
I don't
nothing.
even know what's in these boxes.
You don't know anything until you open the box and you're like, did we need 4 more of these?
I have gotten to the point, those little stools, camp stools that you have when you go camping and sit around the fire and everything. I take those with me. I have one.
Do you really?
on a backpack
that
smart. I take with me. So when my wife is shopping, I can sit out by the wall,
Oh, that is brilliant, my friend, because you can sit wherever it is, and because that time, there are those times where they're browsing through those sale racks, and you're like, the blood is draining from my legs. I gotta sit down, and there's no chair. That is absolutely brilliant. Bring those chairs you bring to like the kids' soccer games. Oh, I need one of that. Oh, you have helped me out here.
I don't have the big ones because that's. They stop me. Security stops me when I walk into the mall with one of those big lounge chairs.
Yeah.
But little camp stove, you can pull that out of your backpack and just sit it down.
And make friends.
Well, I end up having to look down at my feet a lot.
Oh, yes.
And, I don't want you to look me in the eye.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be incognito. And actually, I was in a different place.
Well, the best is you've got to do this, though, when you're wandering and you're doing the shopping, you run into those other guys that are along with the wives, is you got to give them a little bit of eye contact.
Yeah, right.
You need
We're
to
in
know
this
whether
together, gents.
Yeah, you got to know, does he need help? Does he need some rescue? Does he need a conversation? Does he need someone to talk basketball with him for a couple minutes? Something like that. You got to help out your fellow guys. I'm just saying.
All right. What other poems do you have for us, Mr. Poet?
All right. For all of those who drive to work and back, or drive to the mall and back, whatever, this is sort of a different style, but it's something I experienced. It's called White Line Fever. 4-lane blacktop. Drive fast, don't stop, don't think, don't blink, don't turn, heartburn. White lines separate what I love and what I hate. Feel the stress, deadlines. I'm oppressed inside the lines. Off the road, I unload. Take a minute, glory in it. Cholla cactus, yellow flowers, a pony perch in floral bowers. It takes some time, but I unwind when I play outside the lines.
Oh, that's nice. I like that. I spent a lot
of the trucker.
Yeah, and much of my parents' chagrin, I spent a lot of times outside the lines in my younger days for a variety of reasons, which includes even driving on the blacktop. Yeah, I had some issues there too. That's another story.
All right, next up.
Oh, holy cow! Here we go. We're on a roll, a sweet roll, as I might say. This one. You're going to have to spend a little time and picture it in your mind, because this poem was inspired by a painting that I have. It was created by actor-artist Buck Taylor. You may know Buck from Tombstone and other movies. His dad was character actor Dub Taylor back in the early Western days. He played a lot with John Wayne. Buck was in some John Wayne stuff. But Buck actually went to school and studied art and has been an artist, and he does a lot of painting on movie sets when he's there. He's done a lot of stuff from Tombstone and different individuals, as well as background sets, bar scenes, that sort of stuff that he paints. Gunsmoke, all kinds of stuff. Anyway, I've got one of his paintings, hanging above the fireplace in my family room, and it's just really it's nice. It has perspective, and this sort of describes it. Saddled up and cinched tight, she sits in sun-streaked shadow, cowboy noir. Horseflies cut trails through suspended dust. She doesn't notice, picturing only the third barrel. Dream high, her mother said, never settled, tumbles from her lips. Her eyes focus, pulse pounds, breath quickens, her pony coils, her name rings across the arena. In less time than it took to tell this story, there were smiles and high fives all around. Dream high. Mom was right.
It's a great one.
So cool.
So that's a poem describing his wife on a horse.
That's nice.
Getting ready to barrel race.
Barrel race, yeah.
And
Which are very quick.
Yeah. And so
that's good. I like the tie into the time there too.
Yeah.
That was good.
That is really something. Yeah.
Well, we've got Jeff Hildebrandt providing some cowboy poetry for us, and we're going to wrap up this week's show with it. Not going to want to miss it. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
the Jeff and Bill Show. Live in studio is Jeff Hildebrandt, our 710 Cowboy Poet Laureate. He's a resident. We actually have a room where he just sits and writes cowboy poetry all day.
I appreciate him opening the bars, though.
We feed him with whiskey and tobacco and bad ideas. All right. Jeff Hildebrandt.
I wonder where the bad ideas come from.
Hey, stop looking over here. It's not fair. It's right, but still not fair.
We always love to do this on Friday. It's a fan favorite of our listeners, some cowboy poetry from Mr. Hildebrandt. What else you got for us, sir?
Well, this is a different style. This is sort of urban cowboy.
Ooh.
You can't go anywhere without seeing urban style poetry. And so this is it's called Urban Renewal because it's different. Anyway, it's Republican. Anyway, okay, so here we go. We're in a fight between wrong and right, so hold on tight. Realize your plight is not all yours alone. An evil blast is coming fast, but we can last until it's past, 'cause history has shown when life gets tough and the road is rough, the devil's stuff's not bad enough to crush what's in our soul. When you're under attack, the way to fight back is hit your knees and ask God, please, just increase your holy peace. When all is said and all is done, your battles are already won by the Father, Spirit, and the Son. Because greater is He who's inside me, so I can be what He wants of me. Then the world will see I've been set free by the awesome power of the Trinity. And that is Jesus' goal.
Combined cowboy poetry, urban, and Jesus all together.
That's amazing.
He's a master weaver of words.
No, the master weaver was Dennis. We were talking about him.
Yeah. Great. How about one more, sir?
One more. Do you want a short one or a long one?
Let's go with a little bit longer one. We got some time.
All right. This is called Plastic Fruit. Strawberries, blueberries, apples, and peaches. You know, if we look at it closely, the Bible will teach us that people will know because of our fruit, the height of our faith, and the strength of its root. But what about us? When we look inside, are there bruises and rotten spots we try to hide? Do we put on false fronts and try to dilute the impact that hard times have had on our fruit? The Bible says we should have peace, love, and joy to show we have faith in our Father above. It may seem to others that all is fantastic, but is the fruit that we're showing them really just plastic? If you're faking the feelings while doing good deeds, for your sake, ask Jesus to pull all those weeds. When you bow down in prayer, you'll stand up much wiser, 'cause you'll realize hard times are God's fertilizer.
That's great. That is great. Good reminder, too, especially since I'm going to be dealing with a lot of fertilizer this weekend. It's ranch time.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the kids. I'm doing the same thing. Jeff goes and mucks out stalls of goats, and I go and try to muck out my kids' rooms. like, oh, so that's where all the forks went. Okay, here, sitting in your room still. Yeah.
So, Jeff, you mentioned that Western Welcome Week is coming to Littleton here soon.
Yeah.
Let's see. That's August 8th through the 17th, so that starts today.
Yeah.
What is Western Welcome Week?
That's everybody says howdy.
And us city slickers put on our cowboy hats
and pretend.
They set up the main drag through Littleton, and they have booths. And
do they do a cattle drive down the middle?
Not a cattle drive, but they have rounded up cats. And they have one
of the best Super Bowl commercials of all the time.
Yes.
By the way, no one can remember anything about what that Super Bowl commercial was actually selling, but the Cowboys bringing in the herd of cats was hilarious.
So
now they have floats and bands, like high school bands, and cheerleaders, and all kinds of all kinds of stuff, and you go right down through the main drag of Littleton, and
they've been
get
doing
down
it
to
for
Santa Fe.
Yeah,
and they're all stopped by traffic, and they can't go, and they back up right there at the intersection.
97 years. They were doing this when Alfred Packer was still a resident of Littleton.
Yeah. We
and made his funnel cakes
years ago. And I was telling you, years ago, we had Dennis Weaver, escorted Dennis Weaver as the Grand Marshal at the Littleton Western Welcome Week, and he rode on the float through town, and it's just a nice little small town celebration of the West.
Yeah.
And next Friday, after I finish here, I'm actually sharing Cowboy Poetry at a rest home for all of the people, a senior center, those who are plagued with the inability to sleep at night. They'll come in, and they have seen in the past how my poetry is good to put you to sleep.
You know, they have these apps these days, like Calm and stuff like that. We should get Jeff Hildebrandt on
there we go.
Make him famous with his cowboy poetry.
That's a great idea. You know, I was talking to Jeff offline that if we do this thing about going down to the Colorado State Fair or something, we got to bring him and sell those books. Yeah, bring him next to us, have him read poetry.
We got to talk to Kelly about that.
Yeah,
we may be heading down there with Governor Polis.
And the dunk tank.
By the way, I've texted House Republicans. They're going to try to get it down there, Bill. We've sparked something. You're listening to Jeff and Bill.
710 KNUS.